Hey guys, what's going on? We are back with a brand new Roblox video, and today we are on Roblox Studio, as you can see by the title, and we are actually doing Roblox Studio tutorial number 2, building basics. Now for this video, I'm not going to have my face cam on so you can see everything that is happening in Studio as I'm doing it, but that is why I will not have my face cam on in this video. But first of all, I'm going to go to my games, into the tutorial one that I named a while ago, which I made for specifically for this. So this is pretty much just a standard base plate. Now, this is building basics. So the first things you're going to want to learn about the building basics of Roblox Studio is you're going to want to learn how to use the basic tools. But first of all, I do not think I went over this in the last video, but the controls of Roblox Studio. Now the controls are WASD, W forward, S backward, A sideways, D the other way. But I'm pretty sure that's pretty obvious. You can also use the arrow keys, but I don't recommend it. And hold right click and move your mouse is to look around and this is very essential to working in Roblox Studio. And scroll wheel is just to get placed faster than just moving forward, just to get to places quick. But I'll do more of these in a keybind kind of Roblox Studio tutorial video, but this is building basics. So your main building basics are going to be in the home and model section. Those are what you're going to want to have open. Now I'm going to delete the toolbox because we don't need that for building basics. But first of all, if you don't have any of these open, okay, I kind of forget, but anyways, you're going to want to go in the home section, and this is where you're going to start. You're always going to start with this part button. You can also right click in here and hit insert part, and you can always insert a standard part, but it gives you more options up here for what kind of part you're going to insert. So go up here, insert whatever part. For this example, I'm just going to insert a block. And most blocks, now this is what you need to know for building studs. Now studs are the unit of Roblox measurement. For just a minute, I'm gonna insert a NPC into here to show you how big a standard Roblox character is, how tall they are, how wide they are. So a standard Roblox character is, let's say, we'll use this block as a measurement. So this block, if you go into your properties area, which I say what it is in the last video, I recommend go check that out. But the size of this block is 4 studs by 1 stud by 2 studs. So the 1 stud is up and down, 2 studs is like this, and the 4 studs is obviously like this. So also this is basically the block. That's how big you can. This is how you can change the size of blocks. You go into the size and properties of that part, and you can change your properties. If I wanted to do 6 by 7 by 8 studs, bam, there's your block. I just resized it to a 6 by 7 by 8 studs. I can do so many things with that. But that is one of the most important tips of building, how to resize. But we're going to start with the building tools. So the select thing lets you quickly move things around by selecting it and dragging it. It also allows you to select it without any annoying arrows or colors. But you can just select things and drag it. To select multiple things at one time, you click on something, you hold shift, and you click on another thing. And bam, you have both of them selected. You can also take a box with left click and hold and drag. You just take a box and bang, you also have these selected. But this one's holding shift is more simple if you have stuff in the background. But this is simple if you're just starting working on a game. Now, this video is going to be a pretty long video because there's a lot of stuff to the basics of building. So here's our block. Let's say, all right. So this is the select tool, and the move tool is pretty simple. See these blue, red, and green things? Those are called the axes. The axes. Now, the green is the y-axis. The y-axis is up and down. And if you go into view and go into view selector, it shows you the axes. The blue is the z-axis, and the x is the red axis, the x-axis. But you can, when moving apart, the move tool is pretty much a extremely precise version of the select tool. Selecting is for getting things. The select tool is for getting things around really fast, and the move tool is to precisely place that item by a certain exact piece of a stud. There you go. Like if I wanted to, let's right-click this part and hit copy, and right-click here and hit paste into. We'll get another version of this part. Now let's say I wanted this to be not inside of the part, but I want it to be over here. Like it. Let's say it's like this, but it was inside the part. We don't want that. And uh-oh, it looks like it went too far. Uh-oh, too much, too far. Well, moving is basically a precise way of getting it exactly lined up. Now, one of the most important things of moving is the model area. Now, if you go into the model area, these are your increments. Your increments are very important. See, if I put the move increment, actually let's continue on with the tools first. But the scale tool basically lets you scale a part any way you can. Up and down, any way you need to scale a part, you can do that. Let's insert a sphere just to show you guys the properties of a sphere. Alright. But that's what the scale tool does. And the rotate tool pretty much speaks for itself. It rotates objects. So you can rotate it on all the axes. You can do whatever you want to the part. You can manipulate these parts in almost any way imaginable in Roblox Studio. And if you select it, actually snaps to this. Also, when you guys first have Studio open, you're most likely going to have join surfaces and collisions enabled, which means they are darkened. I recommend turning off collisions, and I would keep join surfaces because it helps out with selecting, but I would turn off collisions, because if you have collisions on, you can't move this part through here unless you go a lot. It stops.
A few minutes later.
As I was saying, if I take my NPC and try to move it through the block, let's say I want it to go inside of the block, but bam, he won't get in the middle of the block. It's impossible. That's because collisions is on. Turn that off, and bam, he can go inside the block, he can go up here, he can be anywhere you want, which is pretty good. Now that you guys know about the basic tools and collisions, I'm going to teach you guys about the 4 main part types of Roblox Studio. Now, the 4 main part types are these parts right here: block, sphere, wedge, and cylinder. Now I'm going to show you guys each of these properties of each block. Now, the cylinder, when you extend it, nothing happens. When you try to make it bigger with the scale tool, nothing happens. But when you do it twice on 2 different axes, then something happens. See, pretty much what is going on is it will extend to wherever the edge of this is using the other axis. And then, of course, there's the make it longer. But that's pretty much the properties of the cylinder. Now, the properties of the sphere are actually, I think they're the most simple out of all the blocks. You just make it bigger, make it smaller. It's always a sphere. You can't make it an oval, but that's what meshes are for. And we'll talk about those later. But this is the wedge. The wedge, in my opinion, is a decently important thing, especially for low poly designs. The wedge, its properties are, this thing pretty much just extends the point. These things, for the most part, they really extend the points. That's what they do. They stretch it out. They don't make it bigger, but they it does make it bigger, but in theory it stretches it. That's kind of what this is. Bam, square with two wedges. Also, here's some controls for you guys to learn. Now, a very important control for you guys to learn is how to copy and paste things. Now, you can always right-click, hit copy, and right-click the workspace and hit paste, and you can just paste as many as you want. But personally, that takes too much time, so I like to grab this and hit Control C, which copies it, and just Control V as many times as you need. But personally, I don't ever use that. I used to use that a lot, but I don't anymore because it spawns on top. Actually, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit Control and D, which duplicates it, which makes it spawn inside. Also, you can right click and you can go up here and hit duplicate, and there'll be two parts right here. If I grab it and move, there'll be two parts. If I do this, right click, duplicate, bam, they're here. Of course, if I move it right now, there's nothing else inside of it. But if I duplicate, another sphere just spawned inside of it. If I move it out of the way, bang, that's been duplicated. So that's pretty much what duplicating is. It's one of the most important factors in Roblox Studio, especially for building. Now, another important thing is grouping things together. Grouping things together is very important. Let's say I duplicate this thing with Control D, and I have these 4 parts, but I don't want to keep moving around these parts and messing up my build one by one. Let's say I want to, and I don't want to have to select them all every single time. What you're going to want to do is you're going to select all the parts that you want to put in one place, and up here, hit this group button. And now these parts are actually a model, which is in here. Your models are very cool because you can move around models without messing up your individual part areas. Now, models are very good. Now, if you want to ungroup models, if you want to undo this, you're going to want to go back up here, hit the down arrow, and hit ungroup. Hit ungroup. And then all 4 parts will be back to normal. Let's say you messed up and you have to ungroup it, and you wanted to make a Y shape, and now you can just regroup it, and bam, it's back to being a new model. And with models, hitboxes are pretty normal. Now unions are a whole nother story, but we'll save unions for a separate video of its own. But that's the basics of this. Now, of grouping. Now I ungroup that. Also, you can group using Control G and ungroup using Control U. Control G. I think I like keybinds because it just makes everything faster. Bam, Control G. It's a model. Bam, Control U. It's no longer a model. How fast can I do that, bro? That's pretty cool. But anyways, that's the basics of grouping and ungrouping things. Now, let's talk about, well, now testing things. Let's stack a few of these blocks on top of each other by duplicating them. Let's stack a few of these on top of each other by duplicating them. And let's test out the game, okay? Let's hit this play button, but I'm going to hit the play here, so I spawn right here where my camera is. Oh yeah, NPCs walk around. Now, you see this, I'm testing it out, it's all normal, but uh-oh, the sphere is moving around. Now, if you want your sphere to move around when you push it, that's totally fine. But if you don't, there's something called anchoring, like on a ship when it doesn't move. See, that sphere is just going to roll right off the edge. That's gone. But here, let me get over here to show you guys what I want to show you. So, basically, anchoring is if a part is locked in position or not. See, I can just push these over and I can destroy all of these. I can just destroy everything, push all these blocks apart. Now, you can actually manipulate things in this, because I can push these around and stuff, but what you're actually going to want to do is you're going to want to grab this. Let's say I want to move this up here. It just falls down because it's not anchored. But this is in testing mode, by the way. But if I anchor it and move it up, bang, it's stuck there. Now it can't move. It can't fall over. It can't do stuff. Most things you actually anchor in most games. Most games you actually anchor things to build stuff. Let's say I wanted to build a brick wall right here. Some sort of brick wall. We'll just make all these some sort of brown or something. But you wanted it to stay a wall. You wanted them all to stay a wall. If I go over here, I play here, these things are not going to stay a wall if I walk on them. They're going to break apart. They're going to destroy themselves. That's why anchoring is such a big thing, because if you anchor it, now if I hit play here, if I try to push these over, they will not move. It is a solid wall. And anchoring is one of the most important features in Roblox Studio of all time. That's the main building thing you're ever going to need to know about. Anchor, anchor, anchor. Anchoring things is one of the most important things in Roblox Studio. Now, for building, another thing about building is the lock tool. Now, a lot of you guys don't even know what this is, which doesn't surprise me, because when I started Roblox Studio, I had no idea what the lock tool was. But basically, you know how you can't click on the base plate and select it? Even when you have things, you have to go into the Explorer and select the base plate to even grab onto it or something? Well, that's because the base plate is actually locked. See, if I hit unlock all, bam, I can now click on the base plate. But let's say I clicked on all these parts, which can be selected, as you can tell. Let's say I clicked on these top parts, and I hit lock. See, I lock all these parts. And bam, I just move over to another tool. And look, I can't click on them anymore. I can click the bottom ones, and I can select the bottom ones, but I can no longer click the top ones. That is what the lock tool does. And if you want to unlock things, you grab the lock tool and you click on these. And bam. If you go to another tool, bang, you can now click on these again. It's pretty simple, but this is very important. Also, when you have multiple parts selected, instead of all of them scaling the same way, they're just gonna stay in the same increments, but they're just gonna get bigger. They're just gonna scale up instead of like individually sizing itself. Like a part, you can scale it like this way, individually. But if it's not individually, if it's in a model or something, if you group it, it's gonna scale just bigger or smaller. It's pretty much what it's gonna do. Unless you're using something called F3X, which hasn't been working for me in a while. But that is pretty much the basics of building for now. And I'm actually going to take a bit of time to build I'll build a small house out of just these 4 things. Also, actually, I forgot to do something. Color and material. You can change the color and material in the properties. I like to change them up here, because these are the base colors, but you can change the color up here and the material. Brick, cobblestone, diamond, palette, grass. Like, let's make this grass green, for example. There you go. There's your grass. Oh, man, I haven't seen this texture be used in a game in such a long time. I used to use this grass texture in all my games. I never use it anymore. I do know, Polly. But anyways, that's pretty much how material and colors look around. You can mess around with those, neon, concrete. There's a few default ones, but you can also go find your own textures in the library on Roblox. Copy the IDs. But that's for another video. But I'm just going to build a house out of the basic things here. I'll probably do a little speed build, add some music to the background, and here we go. Let's start the house, the small house.
I'm king of the mountain. Oh, yeah. I'm king of the mountain.
Alright guys, as you can see, I have actually built a very quick house. I probably made it in about 1 or 2 minutes. But it's basically made out of these main 4 things. And this is just one thing I made really quick, but you can do a lot more detailed with depending on how much time you're willing to spend. You can actually go inside here. It's just a look house, but as you can tell, for the border of the door, I used cylinders. For the door and this itself, and the big part itself, I used just a normal block. For the door handle, I used a sphere. And for the roof, I used 2 wedges. And it's pretty much what I did for this. As you can tell, just these 4 parts can do so much in Roblox Studio. These 4 meshes, these 4 things are just all you need. Really, these things are all you need for building in Roblox Studio, these 4 parts. But if you want to make things look even better, then you can insert meshes. But these things are really all you need to build in Roblox Studio. These things are tools, and there you go. I built a house, bro, in like 2 minutes. This is not the most detailed house, but I want you guys to, if you're really a beginner at Roblox Studio, I want you guys to try to remake this house. And send me a picture to my Twitter, which is linked in the description down below if you have a Twitter. Please try to remake this house and do that, and I'll actually give you a shout out in the next video, which will be pretty cool, and I'll put a picture of your house up on the screen. So yeah, but that's pretty much gonna be it for this video, guys. If you guys did enjoy this Roblox Studio building basics tutorial number 2, please leave a like and subscribe. I know it might be asking a lot, but it really helps me out. It helps my channel out. I'm trying to grow the channel. That's what I'm trying to do. So please like and subscribe. And leave a comment down below if this was helpful for you at all. And if not, well, tell me that too. So, but no hateful comments, please. But just make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.